What's up, everyone? We got some dandan and some pork dumplings, and pretty much dandan I believe it's a Szechuan noodle dish. So it has some peanutty flavor as well as mixed with a bunch of hot chili peppers as well. And yeah, let's go. Oops. Oh, let me get some napkins real quick. Super hard to get these noodles all stuck together. Damn. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Feeling like Lady in the Tramp trying to get these noodles. Goodness, maybe I should have used the scissor to cut them. Okay, so today's topic we'll be talking about Great Pretender episode 3. So the authorities are watching Cassano and everyone else as well as Laurent, Abby, and Edamura. So you remember from the previous episode that Edamura, left the hotel late at night, and we thought that he was pretty much out of the whole deal, right? But that's not what transpired. He actually spent all night watching Cassano's movies so he can study up on Cassano and his films and learn him more about as a person. So the next day is where it's pretty much a flashback of what happened between last night and when Lawrence and Abby met Cassano the next day. So this episode is filling in what happened. So Edamura, he sees Cassano the next day, probably early in the morning. Or actually no, I think he visited him the nighttime. And then he says that he really loves Cassano's movies. Obviously, he's trying to butter him up. And Edamura claims that as a doctor, he put all his heart and soul into making Sakura magic. But initially, this drug was supposed to be used as a drug for his patients, but it proved to be too potent. And he's trying to get Cassano to sympathize with him. And now, since Edamura said he put all his heart and soul into making this drug, he says, you know what, I want to sell the drugs to you for 10 mil. And Cassano's like, well, hold up a minute. You're doubling the price now? Is there another catch to it? So Edamura says that along with the drugs that he's planning to sell to him, he's also going to give Cassano the recipe for the soccer magic. So it seems like a pretty good deal, right? So when Lawrence, Abby, and Edamura are sitting down and talking with Cassano, Cassano says that actually I looked in Japan and researched Edamura's name as a potential doctor, but there's no records to be found. And he also sent some of his lawyers, I believe, to check out the Japanese pharmaceutical company that Edamura was working at. And now Edamura is pissing his pants like, oh my gosh, I didn't plan for Cassano to do so much extensive research, but investing $10 million is a crazy investment, and of course he needs to make sure that he does his research before committing to this big deal. So luckily, actually, Laurent actually backed up Edamura. So if you remember, the old man that Edamura teamed up with as a con man, and also the old woman that he tried to scam, they were there at the pharmaceutical company. I believe they were pretending to be doctors as well, and they set up a whole room to fake Edamura's doctor office with all his accomplishments and etc. And now Cassano finally has somewhat gained the trust from Edamura and Lawrence that he's a legit doctor and his research on the drugs is actually real. So literally right after his lawyer's visit and these fake doctors fill him in, they bust out there and clean up everything in the office. And then nah. So actually Cassano knows that he's being watched by the LAPD, and he actually has one of the police officers on his side. So you know how that goes. You give him some little money on the side, the police will look the other way. Okay, so let's get some more tea here. Oh, jeez, these Dandan noodles, man. So much noodles here. But I'm not complaining. So actually, the place I went to today is called Szechuan Cuisine. It's on Irving. So I think my parents, a couple of weeks ago or like a month ago, they took me. No, they didn't take me, but they did take out for the Dada noodles, and they said there was like a special going on. So I believe like they give you a lot of noodles, and it's I believe only $5.99. So it's like that's like a deal too good to be true. Super cheap for one meal. I don't know if you can find a meal that cheap in San Francisco anywhere for the amount of food you get, and it's pretty good. Gosh, these noodles are long. So, Cassano knows that the LAPD has been watching him for quite some time. It's been a while. And, they're keeping their eyes on Lawrence and Edamura's interactions with Cassano. And as they leave the residence, the LAPD is tracking them and chasing them. And, excuse me. And then one of the policemen who is on Cassano's side, his name is Anderson, and they do a wild police car chase to the point where Anderson, the policeman, almost lost his life. He's saying that I had to make this car chase real so that his own men wouldn't suspect him of being on his side. So now, since they escaped from the policeman, Cassano brings Laurent and Edamura to a drug refinery place. Now he wants Edamura to make the Sakura magic right then and there, right before him. And now he's also, Edamura has no clue how to make any drugs at all, and he's sweating profusely. Now, going back to the policeman named Anderson, so an FBI agent named Paula Dickens catches with Anderson, and he's been on this case watching Cassano for some time, but they somehow never catch Cassano red-handed doing any criminal acts, and people will catch on saying, this guy's suspicious. So now Paula Dickens whispers into Anderson's ear saying, how did you get the money that paid for your vacation home as well as your daughter's tuition? So she did some for research and threatens him right then and there. So now she's gonna take over the case. Okay, so going back to Edamura and Cassano, Edamura says that he comes up with a good excuse on the spot, saying, I can't make this Sakura magic in the drug refinery because under these conditions, it's in a warehouse that may be too dusty and may tamper with the drugs, and I don't have all the right equipment with me at this time. So you know what? So this is what Cassano says for now. He's gonna have him stay at one of his henchmen's place for now, and he's gonna actually build a facility himself right here. So Edamura can do as he please to make the high quality Sakura magic. So now, so Edamura, Laurent, and Abby, they have some time to come up with a plan. So, actually, Paula Dickens, she did some research on, Cassano as well, and she also know who Laurent and Edamura's real identities are. So that's pretty much wrapping up episode 3. Now, it's getting pretty interesting at this point, starting to pick up a little bit, and this is what I like to see with this type of genre where there's like police investigations. It's kind of like CSI and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it for today's Mukbang. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Thank you for watching. Peace.